CDC disease detectives raced to Texas to track down any potential Ebola victims after the deadly and contagious killer virus hits U.S. soil. The first U.S. Ebola.
Ebola is a relatively new virus. The first two strains of Ebola, Ebola Sudan and Ebola Zaire, were first recorded in 1976 in Sudan and Zaire respectively. Ebola Zaire has the highest mortality rate of 88%. The third strain, Ebola Ruston, was recorded in 1989 when infected monkeys were brought into Ruston, Virginia from the Philippines. The fourth strain, Ebola Côte d'Ivoire, was discovered when an ethologist became infected while performing a necropsy on a monkey. We are in the midst of the largest Ebola epidemic in history. This outbreak has spread to multiple countries in Africa and is starting to appear in countries outside of the African continent. This strain of Ebola is the Ebola Zaire. Symptoms start showing 8 to 10 days after exposure, and they include weakness, fever, diarrhea, stomach pain, and vomiting. According to BBC News, updated on November 11th, the Ebola virus has claimed a combined total of 5,177 lives. What do you know about Ebola?
I know Ebola is a hemorrhagic fever that is contracted every once in a while. An epidemic occurs usually in Central Africa. The one in Western Africa is quite the surprise.
Ebola. I have many thoughts about Ebola. I think it is a serious topic. I think people should be aware of Ebola. I think that it should be talked about. But I also think there's other issues out there that are a lot more important than Ebola. I don't think you can be that, the chances of us in America getting Ebola is just so little compared to where it's actually originating from.
Well, I know Ebola is something, a dangerous virus going around in Africa right now. So very dangerous, that kill millions of people so far.
I know that it was a virus that originated in Africa that was brought here, and it has like a 90% fatality rate, and I believe we have a cure. I believe there's a cure somewhere, I just don't think that they're ready to give it out.
What are your thoughts about it?
I think it is a bad disease. It is usually fairly localized, so this current epidemic is somewhat, gone beyond what it typically normally does, and I think there are other diseases in Africa that also need attention, but it is something that we do need to address.
Well, I know that first off, it's not airborne. That's the first thing that I pay attention to. That I also believe that I've heard that it originated from apes.
I think it's pretty terrible. I think it's awful. I think that if the people have the cure, they should do something about it, and that, just give it to, the nation, you know what I'm saying? Because people are dying from this, I mean, how is all these people dying, you know what I'm saying? And there's few people that, got treatment for it, you know what I'm saying? What's up with that?
I think if we had the proper technology in other, Africa and other countries like that are kind of I don't know if they're third world, but growing countries, so to say, I think they'd be able to take care of it a lot better than the outbreak that they've had.
Do you think Ebola is a conspiracy?
I have never heard that it was a conspiracy. I'm aware of it being as such and cannot imagine how it could be.
I don't really think it's a conspiracy just because when you look at the facts, it's not, it makes sense. I don't think the government came up with anything. I don't think it's I don't think it's population control like some people think it is. So no, I don't think it's a conspiracy at all.
No, I don't think it's a conspiracy at all.
Well, it's real, and people died from it, so I don't think it's a conspiracy at all.
Do you think Ebola is a conspiracy?
Yes, I do. You don't even have to tell me that, Like I said, there's something going on, Why is all these black people getting killed, How come, when, there's some U.S. soldier or something, that had the virus, that contracted the virus or something like that, then he gets treated, What happened to Tim Duncan? I'll tell you what happened to Tim Duncan, back in Texas, come on, man, how is he going to get killed from this, you know what I'm saying? And then the nurse who contracted it, who treated him, got cured, got to see President Obama and all that. It's I seriously think there's something up with this.
Yeah. Do you have any comments about Ebola?
I think that we should be trying to treat people the best we can, that it is difficult to treat in these countries that have poor medical infrastructure, and but given the right infrastructure, it is something that we can cure, as shown in the United States, where only 20% of the people have died, as opposed to in West Africa, more than 50% of the people who have died that have Ebola.
Aid workers from the Liberian Medical Renaissance League stage an Ebola awareness event October 15th in Monrovia. The group performs street dramas throughout Monrovia to educate the public on Ebola symptoms and how to handle people who are infected with the virus. Currently, vaccines and treatment are under development. Many of these sources online seem to unanimously agree that education is key to fighting Ebola. It seems that one of the best ways to win this battle is to make sure people are educated on what the Ebola virus is, how it's spread, and how to treat it.